Hey everybody! I want to do a reading. I have a particular cartomancy deck that I've been working with and studying for a while, and that is the Doors of Simploth. I really enjoy this deck. Anna Cortez worked on this alongside her father, so this is a father-daughter collaboration, which is really awesome, and I'm learning the difference between certain reading modalities, trying to go between runes and cartomancy and tarot and, different type of, exposing myself to everything. I've been looking at I Ching, I've been looking at my human design, I've been doing everything. So I like to do whatever it is I feel compelled to do. So I've been called to work with this deck. I actually haven't used it since I put my whole thing together back there, so I felt called to do it, mostly because the kitties, whenever they knock a particular tarot deck off, I just start playing with it because it's like they chose it for me. I didn't have to think about it. So anyway, so today's reading has a very interesting thread, as always, right? I get always the interesting readings. This one I kind of pulled a line from through the reading that I thought was interesting. It's kind of a long title, but it's a line that I felt interested to pull through, which was the battle between authentic self-expression and manipulation from external sources. So that definitely could be something if you're experiencing, the fight to be yourself in a public arena. So the overruling energy I feel is, here we go, we got the north wind. Cats are playing in the background, beating each other up. So the north wind, Four of Spades, this is kind of a harsh energy. This one has connotations of, health, a warning of being burnt out or needing to take a step back in some kind of case. So I did some studying in between the book, what I know to be true, and then, I looked into other sources, scoured through many different, scoured words. But anyway, I looked for things that may be helpful. I'm trying to broaden my understanding of everything, so when doing a reading, I have more to pick from depending on what comes out in the reading. To broaden our knowledge, is to give a more accurate reading, I think. So the energy of the north wind, the Four of Spades, is a cold force that delivers strength, and it fortifies you or it shreds you. There is no in-between. It's a test of determination or durability in order to endure. So it is meant to strengthen, but sometimes when we experience hard things, we have to figure out how to get up and work with it, even if it knocks us down a little bit. So raw and forceful dynamics sometimes feels unsettling or overly harsh. There's a need to seek out shelter or protection. So up here in this chart, in the 12th house, we can see that the North Node is there, but also so is Saturn. So a very real representation of Saturn in the 12th house. It's called the place of isolation, and sometimes you can literally withdraw from the world. You can either choose to do it yourself. Sometimes it can be the hospitals, it can be prisons, it can be, going to a foreign country, a place of retreat, or spiritual, escape. So when it's talking about a place to seek shelter or protection. That would definitely seem correct. Also, because up here in the public space, we have the moon coming into conjunction with Pluto. So that can definitely speak about something within the collective and the career space that is emotionally challenging. And Cancer, which actually rules over the 4th house in traditional astrology. Sometimes in sidereal it can also be the 3rd. But regardless, Jupiter's here, so there's joy, there's luck, there's expansion, there's safety, there's, positive energies here. And then there's also Venus over here, which makes this a fun, joyous energy to be in. But it's like the opposite of what we're experiencing out here, and why we feel like we need to isolate in a safe place that brings us some sense of joy, even if we've been experiencing a hard issue. And then if we look over here, Mars is in the 7th house, so there could be like frustrations, aggravation, arguments with someone that means a lot to us or something like that. There's this energy of, it's not quite in opposition to Chiron yet, but it's definitely Mars opposite Chiron. That can be a challenging experience. So, and it can also be expressed as a strong sexual drive or sexual energy. And that would make sense because, again, Mars over here, this is the one of the symbols for our sexual drive. Venus would be the fertility of it, or male female kind of energy. So this energy could be talking about a new relationship, new dating thing happening. And it's also the urge to use creative outlets, which also Leo is, the house of play, and Venus rules over literally the throat. So it can be anyone who uses their voice. It can be anyone who paints, fashion, anything of beauty. Photography is kind of Neptune-ish, but it still applies to Venus. I don't know, modeling's probably a thing also for somebody. Teaching your body how to fight off disease before you ever really get sick. Okay, so the North Node is up here in the 12th house. And in the 6th house, even though the South Node is kind of appearing to be a little bit still in the 7th, it's actually here in the 6th, which the Sun is here, which is good because the Sun going through a place of needing vitality is good. My only thing is that the South Node is going to conjunct with the South Node, and so the South Node is considered a place of leakage. And Virgo rules over the immune system, at least, her ruler's there. So there's an energy of possible vitality dipping for a little bit. So just be careful of the immune system. And that might be why we're needing to isolate, because we're being exposed to something possibly at work. And in this case, it could be fighting sometimes with coworkers, or it could be, these are considered an open enemy energy, and this is the house of authority figures, long-term goals and stuff like that. So you could be a situation around work that we are dealing with. And so it says the body's ability to recognize and defend and fight against harmful germs such as viruses or bacteria. And I put in parentheses COVID. So it's like training your body's soldiers before a battle. So that soldiers made me think of white blood cells. So just, if, I guess at this time, if this reading is finding you, protect your immune system from, I guess, work-related cooties, possibly. You just pay attention to if anyone seems or appears sick around you, and if they are, isolate yourself from it. So then the next card that came up came in reverse. This is Saul. This is the King of Clubs, and he's holding a brain. So this person is very intellectually smart. Like, they normally are like, you know, more of a thinker than anything else. They live a lot within their mind. And so this energy talks about the fact that we're looking at also following directly after the message of the north wind. A leader figure may be blind to their own flaws or have a lack of immunity, or confidence may waver. So in the public sphere and space, and we're looking at the north and the south node in the 12th and 6th health axis, that is correct. This person may more than likely have an immune thing. Could also have, because Venus is in the 5th house, a little bit of an ego thing that they are actually genuinely battling with. Something to do with being seen. And then if you look up there and you see in the 10th and 11th area, Pluto and the moon being tightly, that would be, I would say so. Normally strong and radiant, there is a suggestion of weakness, may point to corruption or pride turned arrogant. Pay attention to the health of an authority figure and possibly hidden truths coming to light. That could definitely be true, because up here, this is where we are seen. Midheaven, a public sphere, what we're known for. So Chiron being here definitely could be the self-esteem issue, for sure. And the north and south node here, these are the places of like our hidden enemies, or places where energy comes out. You know, it's a place where sometimes things happen from people that we did not expect, I guess, would be part of that. All right. So then this also came in reverse. Dango. There we go. So Jack of Diamonds. And so one of the things when I'm looking at this, he's got a smug look on his face, but he's also holding a blade. So the energy of watch out for who you trust. There is either someone or a situation that is or has been unreliable. And there's an energy of a poor trade. And I thought it was interesting because we're in the middle of a trade war. So not saying, just thought that was interesting. Made me think of that, but because it's also talking about authority figures. And if we think about so the eclipse is going to be happening. And for this energy that resonates with somebody who may be an Aries rising, may be a Virgo sun, might be a Capricorn moon. But the energy of all this definitely speaks of being surrounded by an energy that is disruptive. So a promise made that cannot be delivered in a young energy that has kind of like a sly, slippery kind of untrustworthy type of energy. So if you don't trust something, someone, something, pay attention to it. Because the fact that he's holding the sword the way he is, it's just kind of like, meh, waiting for an opportune moment to strike. And then we got Dracula. So there we go. So Dracula. So the moon on there automatically makes me look to the 10th house regardless. And also, this is someone who cannot die. No matter what, they are just stuck here. So that would also be Pluto. You know, that combination. So when we're thinking about Oliver, I don't need you to help me rearrange all those things right now. Oliver loves to help me by getting on everything and knocking it all over the place. So it's not just 52 card pickup, it's all the things pick up because. Okay, so this card refers to power. Okay, so that's accurate because it's basically in the areas of power. And power is more in the collective, but still. Oliver, please. Let's not rearrange the furniture over there. A figure who takes more than they give, possibly entanglements with someone or something that drains life force. So, if this is somebody's career, it is really difficult. It is, you are over-giving in this situation, just in case you were wondering. And then I wrote the South Node, and it is true. The South Node going through and going to be touching your sun, or the sun through the 6th house, can show a draining of vitality. Though it can be captivating, it can cost you dearly. And then I wrote down Order of the Dragon. That seems accurate. To turn this energy positive in one's life is to face great challenge head on. Okay. So that would be referring head on. Sometimes makes me think of the energy of Mars. So let's look at Mars. And he is looking at the North Node. Okay. The allure of power and influence, and to carry it, and to carry a crushing burden. So mentally, inwardly and outwardly, mentally. So it's not only internal, it's actually visible. Are you overworking? Yes, you are. Struggling with addiction or bad company. Someone may be literally be dealing with an issue concerning the blood. Because Dracula. So if you there we go. If you see in his hand, it's like an organ. It's just like flopped over his fingers. It's pretty brutal. Like, could be like a heart or like, I don't know, a liver or something. I don't know. It's pretty brutal. But where it's like, and then appearing next to the 7 of Hearts. So the 7 of Hearts, the Sword of Healing, came in. So that's exactly what it's referring to. The 7 of Hearts. So it said, may represent an undying or eternal love. Now that's true. Dracula being directly next to the Sword of Healing, except it's upside down, which means that there is a little bit of a challenge in the whole healing in the undying love category. So the energy of the sword coming in reverse is unable to heal from something. Either because a lack of dealing with it or not being able to handle it. It can mean emotional distortion. A challenge involving health and love. Okay, so again, healing and the North Wind, it's a lot about healing. So this is either a literal thing that we are healing from, or this is like, this is a mental battle that we've been struggling with, and this can be like skipping record syndrome. I know I say that a lot, but that's genuinely true with this. But sometimes we can feel so strongly about something that it can make us ill. So there's that. The power to heal or injure. So this power, like being able to help somebody or harm somebody with words, probably. Lessons in forgiveness and illusions around love, or love that was unrealized, resisted, or hidden. Though it may feel eternal, it may be expressed through struggle, denial, or an unhealthy attachment. It could be a forbidden love or a bond that won't let go but won't or can't bloom openly. It can't manifest until illusions or blocks clear. May need to rethink how you're approaching it. So taking space away to think about what we really want. Now, Juno is exactly at 23 degrees. And this is the ideal relationship, partnership, whatever it is. And then this is in a very soul bonding type of energy. And the fact that it's at 23 degrees makes me want to read about 23 degrees Scorpio. "23 degrees. A bunny metamorphosized into a fairy." I don't know why I decide reading is a great idea in front of people and strangers and stuff. This is a symbol of inner or creative values of everyday living and of the personal or more dynamic meanings which man may endow the least of the things around him. Implicit in the symbols is a kaleidoscope capacity of his imagination, or the extent to which he may mold or remold to everyday reality with which he deals. Here is poetry of the soul as it mirrors each person's ongoing achievement in character and skill. The key word is transition, and that is the word for this area. This is like basically the house or of life and death. So transition, awakenings, changes in that kind of regard. When positive, the degree is thorough self-conquest by which an individual subordinates his naive and animal impulses to his ideals and aspirations. And when negative, undisciplined escapism and complete distortion of attitude. So, don't know if that helped anybody or anything, but now we know what we didn't know. Okay, so then we had the Eight of Hearts reversed. Okay, so this is the Fawn. There we go, the Eight of Hearts. So it's ruled by Mercury, which is hanging out in the 6th house. So suppression of wildness, desire, and instinct. They may be out of alignment, like literally. Your back could be out of alignment, your hip, whatever, something you could need to be adjusted. That would definitely be a thing. Are you fighting your natural impulses or indulging in ways that are harmful, which could be over here. This is the house of going too far, taking things to excess, sometimes addictions, and Venus is there and she loves beautiful things. Sometimes it can be blowing your money, because this is a gambling house also. And love can be a drug and used for the wrong reasons. And an energy of being forced to let go of pulling the strings because it's out of your hands or out of your control. 100%. 100%. The word calibration and redirecting after a shift. Be aware of fantasy. Is it helping or making it worse? So that can be right here. You know, it's like riding the cusp in between the 1st and the 12th house. So there's almost like this. You can either yourself be escaping, being, disassociating. You could be retracting. There's many different energies, but also sometimes like confused would be a good way to describe the energy of Neptune sometimes in those areas. And then we had the last card that came out, which was the Wind Cloak. Oh, there we go. If you ever watched the Avengers and like how Doctor Strange has his cloak, it's kind of like that. You know how it's alive and it has its own kind of thought pattern or its own sentience to it. So this is a story about the Wind Cloak and how it's kind of uncontrollable. And that's kind of like how, for example, the energy of an eclipse is. It shows like, big changes that we have no control over that sometimes happen abruptly and kind of startling like. So this one suggests hiding. So then we go back and we look, yep, in the 12th house, North Node is there, Saturn's there, Neptune's about to be there. You may have learned how to be comfortable in a place of hiding. I have, for sure. I resonate with that one 100%. We may be shielding or disguising oneself. That could make a lot of sense with Neptune. Neptune is kind of like, can be considered deception energy because it kind of blurs things. Like sometimes it's not clear, something's not clear with us, whether the way that the world is, it's not clear to us, or the world is not able to perceive us because there's just something confusing, like a lack of understanding of some sort. And someone may be covering up their vulnerability or cloaking their true nature. Yep. That can be, especially with Chiron here, I would say definitely so, because, you may have had hard experiences around yourself and selfhood and trying to express yourself, especially to other people, right? Mars is over here and people impact you very intensely and very deeply. Speaks of caution accompanied by the north wind. Events are out of your control. So that's twice you have an energy of something's happening that you don't have control over, and the only thing you can do is make sure that you see things clearly. Yourself, someone else, the situation. Be careful with your energy. Though you may encounter an upheaval, it is set to make room for something new. You may feel confusion or feel restless or suffer from a constant running mind. Yep, that's what I was thinking, skipping record. I wrote this a few days ago, so when I come back and read it, I'm like, yeah, I'm onto something. And then this is the chart from like right now, like September 3rd, 2025, 8:59 and 52 seconds p.m. I did that literally before I started this reading, so it's nice. I like it when it lines up like that. Rearranging will be the theme. So the 6th house is the house of habits. The north house, the 12th house is the mind area. So big changes happening in yourself, in your patterns, the way you think about things, the way you do things, trying to make a more positive experience. So I wrote down what I thought everything together could possibly be talking about, and there may be a battle between authentic self-expression versus manipulation of external sources. And that was what I named the reading. There is something harsh happening. So someone or something is charming, but may be dangerous. Moon in conjunction with Pluto. Emotionally, it's very strong, but Pluto is a character that one cannot play with. Pluto's kind of deep and serious energy. Be mindful of energy vampires, literally. And because, again, Pluto is next to the moon and the South Node is about to conjoin with the sun, and there's about to be eclipse in this area, that can speak very strongly to that energy. Do not muffle your natural instincts. If something feels off, it is. So the energy, there's a couple things showing up here in 23 degrees too. Juno's here, and so is a lot of spirit. So big things changing. No, Charlie, we're gonna stay this way, baby. We're gonna stay this way. Good boy. Good boy. The connection is real. It's not fake, whatever it is that you're experiencing. But it may not be playing out in the highest form. There may be a chronic pattern in resisting true healing. Now, sometimes we don't know how to heal. We haven't figured it out. It hasn't come to us yet. The occurrence has not happened yet. We may be waiting. But there's other times where we want healing, but because we identify so much with the pain, the idea of it not being there kind of gets us in a place of, does that mean it wasn't real, or whatever, you know, or whatever. It's a weird place to be. Symptoms may be fatigue or feeling emotionally drained. I would definitely say that. Avoid surface level fixes. Healing may come from addressing emotional or energetic bonds, not just physical symptoms. Our emotions impact our immune system just as harshly, if not more, than illness. If you are already weak, stop engaging. So I hope this reading was helpful to somebody, especially if you happen to be a sun, moon, or rising Aries. But it doesn't have to be that is your placement. It's just the reading that I did, the time of the chart, just threw it up here, started reading. And I hope that it may have helped somebody today. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope it was helpful, and I look forward to doing another reading with you guys soon. Thank you for learning with me. Bye.